Why would anybody buy a cheap Warlock in 2025 when you can buy a pre-built one with all the modern specs? Well, it all started when I was digging into Exodus, more specifically Gary Holt. And I found out that he started with a really cheap knockoff Strat that he threw together. But that's where his sound started. He didn't wait around for a signature model. He made his guitar his own from day one. And that got me thinking, what would my guitar look like if I could shape it from the ground up? I'm probably never getting a signature model with my name on it, but I can still build something that feels like a signature model, something people immediately see and think of me. And that's where this Warlock comes in. So today I'm walking you guys through the guitar I chose, why I picked it, and how I'm turning it into my own custom machine. Let's get into it. I know a lot of you would probably expect me to go for the Explorer. I mean, I absolutely love this shape. It's one of the most iconic guitar shapes, but it just feels like James Hetfield's guitar, especially in this white. Like, I know a lot of people have used Explorers like Ronnie Van Zant, but like every time I think about an Explorer, I just think James Hetfield. Even if I recolored it, it still just feels like his. Same thing with the single cut. Like, it's another favorite shape of mine, but there's so many players that already have made it iconic. Willie Adler, Gary Holt, Zach Wilde, and a bunch of others. I could definitely buy one and make it mine, but I just wanted something different. Something that didn't really belong to any other guitarist. So I started looking for a guitar that felt like a blank canvas. One that looked metal, but didn't appear in every rig rundown. And that narrowed things down really quickly. I thought about the Dean Cadillac. It's a really cool combination of the Explorer and the single cut shape, but it just didn't click. I also looked at the Ironbirds, which are kind of really overused by a lot of death metal guitarists now. I looked at the ESP Axe, which I thought was really cool, and literally only one person's used it. But again, those didn't click either. But the Axe led me to looking at the Warlocks. Yeah, I know it has a legacy. Kerry King's used it, Mick Thompson's used it, Max Cavalero's used it. But unless I design my own guitar, every guitar is going to have some kind of history. But I appreciate that the Warlock still feels open. It's raw, it's metal as hell, and it's a shape I've always been drawn to. Back in high school, one of my best friends had this guitar, so I remember how smooth it played and how well built it was, which I know can be misleading for these really cheaply built guitars. But I started hunting my local stores to see if I could find one. That didn't turn up anything, but on Reverb, I found a really good one for a really good deal. It doesn't have the Widowmaker headstock, which honestly now I find kind of cheesy. I used to like it back in the day, but not anymore. I'd love for it to have the Harpoon headstock, but that's not a deal breaker right now. As long as it didn't have a floating bridge, I was pretty much set. And honestly, I just love this red color. All the other ones I found on there were black, and this one just stood out immediately. It was red, it was for a great price, and I just had to go for it. Everything in the description said it played well, needed some fretwork, I think, but it just looked really good and solid. It's definitely like a little beat up. There's a bunch of marks here. Like, I know the horns have a lot of marks on them, but like I was looking for a project guitar, so like I didn't mind like replacing things. But yeah, I just saw this red and I just like knew this was the one. I really love that it's not exactly the Ferrari red, but I really love the Dave Davidson's new signature guitar. He has a Ferrari red Jackson 7-string that I absolutely love. It might not be the same shade, but I just love that like fiery red on it. And yes, I did consider saving the extra $900 for a brand new one. But the newer models don't have like these nice bevels on it. Like it's just like a flat shape. I like these bevels they got on them. It just got a little more character to it. And the new ones are just like flat. And the red, it's really dope, but it's a darker red. And it just doesn't look as mean. And this one plays great. It's got no sharp fret ends. And the neck's worn in, which is really nice. And for an early 2000s cheap model, like that's not a guarantee all the time. So I'm really actually happy with what I got. I think the best part about choosing this shape is that once I fix this one up, I can get more for really cheap. Like this is the bronze model. Like I could definitely get like 4 or 5 for like $2,000. So I can make backups for this one. And that was honestly kind of important as well. So this guitar has got a lot of good bones to it. There's a lot of things I gotta replace to make it my own. Real quick before we dive into the mods, if you're into this personal gear journey and you want to support me, please go check out my Patreon and my YouTube membership. On both, you get early access to videos, Q&As, be able to vote on my content, and on Patreon, you get a discount for my custom HX Stomp tomes. So if you love all things metal and guitar, and you want to support me, please go check those out. Then I want to give a really big shout out to someone that's been supporting me since day one, ToneDeck. They make some of the most accurate tone-matched IRs in the game, and if you've been searching for legendary tones by legendary bands, they have a ton of them. So go use my discount code below to get some awesome guitar tones. Now back to the video. This Warlock is almost perfect, but it definitely needs some work. I picked it knowing I'd have to tweak a lot of stuff to make it my signature guitar. First off, the good stuff like I already mentioned, I love the red on this guitar. It plays really well. Like, there's not a finish on here. It just feels really smooth to play. The neck's just nicely worn in. There's no sharp fret ends, which is nice. And aside from the few cosmetic things, there's nothing major wrong with it from what I can tell. And because I got it at a solid price, none of those scuffs really bothered me at all. Now the changes. You've probably already noticed I'm swapping out some of the hardware. I'm going for a red and black theme, kind of like Davidson's Ferrari Red Jackson, which looks sick. I've already picked out the knobs and am installing a set of black hip shot locking tuners. They match the look that I want and help with tuning stability, which is always a win. Next up is the bridge. The wraparound it came with is a little warped, which is causing some fret buzz. I don't know if the seller noticed, but either way, I was planning to replace it anyway. Hopefully it doesn't mess up anything too badly. Finding a black wraparound was way harder than I expected. Apparently not many companies make them anymore, but I found one that'll work. I just need to measure the current one I have before ordering a new one to make sure it fits. Then we got the pickups. Right now it has the standard BC Rich ones you'd probably see in all the budget models from back then. They're fine for now since I'm still in a writing phase, but before things hit a stage, I think they'll need an upgrade. And here's a quick sound demo for you. I already have something in mind, and if you're interested, I'll share more about that later. Last thing is the neck and headstock. Eventually, I want to color match the headstock to the body. I think it just makes the whole thing look more put together. Since it's a bolt-on, part of me thinks it'd be cool to track down a random harpoon headstock one to swap in, though I know that's probably not super practical because I don't know if it'll fit the neck joint properly. Still, worst case, I'll just match the one it came with. And then way down the line, once I've got everything dialed in, I want to go all in with the stainless steel refret and custom inlays. And I think that step will really make this guitar feel like my own. James's White Explorer is sick. Eddie's Frankenstein is iconic. Iommi's SG feels timeless. And Gary Holt's unbelievable collection of single cuts is amazing. And what's really cool is if you want those guitars, you can go out there and you can get them. There's probably hundreds of copies of those guitars out there. And I wouldn't even blame you. Like, I have a cheap knockoff Harley Benton James Hetfield Explorer because it was affordable and it plays really well. But I think it's more important to find something that works for you. And if it's a Dean from Hell or a White Explorer, own that shit and make it yours. But for me, I wanted something that felt like me. I wanted people to see this Warlock in my hands and be like, yeah, that's his signature guitar. And it's kind of way easier now just to like blend in. Glenn Fricker loves to rant about how every modern metal band looks and sounds the same. And honestly, I don't think he's wrong. It's really hard to beat the path of least resistance. And that means using a Mesa Boogie or a 5150 with V30s, SM57, and EMG pickups. It's hard to beat that tone, and it's easy to get, so I don't blame people for going that way. And honestly, that's not even a new issue. All the thrash bands in the 80s were all using Marshalls. But it was a different time, and they didn't have access to the internet to get all the tips and tricks that everyone's using to get the same sound. So their Marshall sounds sounded a little bit different from each other. But now with so many industry standard setups, the margin for sounding different is really thin. And like Glenn keeps screaming, chasing originality might just be the better move. And that's the path that I'm on. I'm trying to shape my own sound and my own style. And not because I think I'm better than anyone, but because I want to feel connected with what I'm creating. I've always loved metal, but I don't just fit into one camp of it. I love thrash and death metal, but only a few select bands really hit it off for me. But then I also love 2000s metalcore, which really clashed with that old stuff. And I love bands like Knocked Loose and the newer wave of thrash and the newer wave of death metal, and they clash with the older scene. Just a lot of music that the old heads kind of brush off. So I land in this like weird middle ground of loving old stuff and loving the newer stuff, and both sides have their big disagreements. The old people say that the new stuff is too soft, and the newer bands say the old stuff is dad rock, basically. But I don't get pulled too far into one direction because it gets a little too gatekeepy. So I wanted a guitar that kind of matched that dichotomy. It's got an old school feel, but I'm going to add some modern upgrades to it to make it modern yet old school. That's why I'm trying to build this guitar to reflect that. Something that brings both sides of the metal coin together. So yeah, let me know what you think of this guitar down in the comments. I really love it. I mean, just a sick looking guitar all around. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps a ton. I'm trying to reach 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you enjoyed this video, I want you to check out this one right here. I think you really enjoy it. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.